Come in, take the start. Follow, leave it all behind. Welcome to the other side.
Look how far they took it, you should know we going farther. Be a legend today, it's all over, we just started. evening, race fans, and welcome to iRacing's Countdown to Green, refreshed by Coca-Cola. We're live from the virtual Auto Club Speedway in Fontana, California for the 5th round of eNASCAR's Coca-Cola iRacing Series season. I'm Amy Long. Hello to all of you joining us tonight on your Tuesday night watching with us along on iRacing's platforms and eNASCAR.com. I'm joined by the usual suspects, our panel of drivers, Michael Guerrilla, Brandon Cattell, and Chris Overland. How you doing tonight, guys?
Man, hey. I'm feeling good. We got rid of Blake because he roasted me.
Yeah.
Welcome, Amy. I couldn't be happier to have you here tonight.
There's no more puns.
I don't know. I'm the hostess with the roastess, guys. Sorry about that.
No.
Yeah, no. Chris still better watch out. He's still on roast alert.
Yep.
So,
yeah,
but I mean,
you're right.
Glad to have you in here, Amy.
Absolutely. They told me I might be able to join the circus, so I figured we could all run away together. It sounds like a good time. Plus,
yeah, it does.
The intro song for this makes me want to run through a wall, so I'm ready.
Yeah.
Definitely better you than the drivers tonight, that's for sure.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, before we talk about tonight's race out west, let's have a look back at what happened at the virtual Atlanta Motor Speedway.
The iRacing.com pace car going to dive to the safety of the pit lane. The field in the hands of Mitchell DeYoung as we say, let's go racing from Atlanta.
And he is going to get a little bit of help here as he goes to the inside. Zach Novak right in behind. And there might be the time where he was coming to pit road.
Your net race leader is the number 25 of Nick Ottinger, your defending 2020 Series champion. So it is William Byron Esports 1 and 2. But side by side for the race lead, and Logan Clampitt on the inside, gonna go to the lead at Atlanta. Last race win came in 2018 at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, and he's going to end a 44-race winless drought. Final time at turn number 4. It means a lot to him. Logan Clampitt wins at Atlanta.
What a finish. What do you think, guys?
Thought it was a good
great.
one. Yeah, for sure. Logan has fought very hard to get back to victory lane in this series, and he really deserved it. So
yeah, wow,
Brandon.
absolutely, wow. All right, our panel of experts again. Let me introduce them: Michael Guerrilla, Brandon Cattell, and Chris Overland. You called it another new winner for this season, Michael. How does it feel to be right again?
Well, I had to go off the back of Chris because he did say we're going to have 11
Thank
race
you.
winners at Las Vegas. So I'm going off that. But yeah, new race winner with Logan Clampitt. But one takeaway that I had was the fact that passing came at a premium at Atlanta Motor Speedway 2 weeks ago. I mean, you see the line you see on your screen right now. These guys are protecting that top side. They were searching for grip all throughout the speedway, but they went from bottom to top to middle, and that middle seemed to be very predominant. And when everyone's up there, you're using that line to defend against everybody and maintain that track position. So when it came down to defending, sometimes it worked, sometimes it didn't, and when it didn't, you had to see some slide jobs getting thrown in there, and sometimes those slide jobs didn't work, leading to some damage and some broken hearts out there. So it was really interesting to see these guys tackle on the track position, and track position is going to be definitely key tonight at Auto Club.
Yeah, broken hearts, hot tempers, and hot Atlanta. What do you think, Chris?
yeah, definitely broken hearts, definitely hot tempers. I've had my run-ins with both of those. Actually got one of them tonight, or 2 weeks ago, with the number 16, got into it with the number 10 of Graham Bolin. This is not a very different sight to see for me, the 16 being in the wall, unfortunately. We also had Femi Olot and Brian Schoenberg get into it. They had a couple of run-ins throughout the event. And, honestly, at this point in the season, you're going to have these drivers getting aggressive for every point that they need, and it's only going to get worse. We started off the season with a couple of clean races, and now we've seen a couple of not so clean races. So I think it's only going to get more and more aggressive here tonight at the Auto Club Speedway.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right, especially with this win it and you're in it situation we've got this season. What do you think, Brandon?
We're 4 races in, guys. We're 4 races in, about to be 5 tonight here at Auto Club, and everybody is racing insane right now. Everybody's trying to put dirty air on each other's front ends. They are making sure that they are making everybody have the worst trouble that they can possibly have going around the racetrack. Everybody's trying to make themselves wide like Ryan Newman around this place. You're not passing anybody right now, especially at Auto Club tonight. You have some of these guys that are really trying to make the top 20 in the points. They're trying to make the playoffs, and they really need to find out who their friends are. I mean, if you choose your battles right now, and if you choose to race somebody clean, you might make it really far down the road. But if you choose someone to race really hard, you might not make it very far in the season at all.
Yeah, absolutely. So know who your friends are, where your teammates are, maybe even your roommates out there. Speaking of roommates, we've got a real treat. We have the man who parked it into victory lane 2 Tuesday nights ago during the round 4 in Atlanta Motor Speedway. Logan Clampitt joining us live, yes, I said it, here. Welcome, and thanks for joining us. How did you feel after that win? We saw it all over your face. Are you still feeling elated?
Yeah, it's pretty exciting to be able to get locked into the playoffs and stuff. You know, there's not a whole lot of stress entering this race tonight, but we definitely want to do good in team points still, and I want to set goals for myself. You know, I still want to finish top 10 in points before the playoffs. I just feel like that's important for me to be able to make the final 4, to have that momentum and stuff.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, when it came down to it, Logan, I mean, it did end your 44 race winless streak, and talk about what that's like going in that such long drought, just so you can come out of it now with coming on top with a 0 race winless streak.
Oh, yeah, that would be interesting. That would be really cool to get 2 in a row. I have yet to win 2 races in a season, so that it would be awesome to finish P1 here tonight.
Logan, I gotta know, man. What is it like being teammates with Michael Conti? And also, where's your camera, man?
I have my camera up on Zoom right now. I don't know why it isn't showing up, but here, let me hold on.
I guess when you're a race winner, you got to have some technical difficulties.
Yeah.
All right, can you guys see me now?
Yeah, now we're just gonna have to roll with it, buddy. We're just gonna have to roll with it.
All right.
Yeah, absolutely.
But
sorry, we got you good, loud and clear.
It's great being teammates and roommates with Michael. You know, it's been cool to really get to know him personally and stuff like that. So I hope to live with him in the future still, within the next however many months or whatever. So it'll be cool. It'll be interesting to see where we end up.
So you're recently roommates too. You moved from California to North Carolina. Let's talk about that move, and what's it going to be like to be racing at the virtual Montana out in California?
Yeah, obviously, I live about 10 minutes from Charlotte Motor Speedway, but Auto Club will always have a piece of my heart. I went there for 11 years straight as a kid, so it's definitely still my home track, and I still want to do good here and still capitalize off of a good finish. And the reason of the move stuff, I just have a lot more friends out here, a lot more connections if I were to, want to get into the racing industry. And I don't know, I just felt like I needed a change, and so far I'm really, really liking it.
Well, as
Absolutely.
Brandon said right before we brought you in here, you got to know who your friends are. You got to keep your friends close, and maybe enemies or even championship contenders closer. You and Michael Conti both locked into the playoffs. Talk about that.
Yeah, it's awesome. Actually, the night afterwards, we went out and got sushi and celebrated, both getting locked into the playoffs and stuff. Made a Twitter post and Instagram post about it. But it's super awesome having, us 2 locked into the playoffs and stuff. It's crazy to think about. And then at Daytona, I was battling for a win with him, and that ended up, pretty heartbreaking for me. He's screaming right into me and I'm flipping up in the air.
Yeah.
It was definitely heartbreaking, and I didn't have a good night, but now we're here, now we're locked in, so that's cool.
Absolutely, really cool. Congratulations again on your win, and good luck to you this evening.
Thank you, guys.
Absolutely, enjoy. He's off qualifying now. Again, we got him live, so that was a real treat for us here on Countdown to Green, and it was an evening to remember for our William Byron Esports as Logan, his teammate, to a 1-2 finish. I just remind you guys, for those of you who don't know, there is a team championship on the line, and here's a look at where the teams stand after round 4 of the eNASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing Series season. Drivers, we have any surprises here? How do you think everybody's looking so far?
Well, I won't say surprises necessarily, but Mode Motorsports is somebody that I'm looking at. This is a team that I'm definitely looking at here. Jake Nichols and Matt Bussa, they had pretty solid seasons so far. Matt Bussa sits 16th in the points. Jake Nichols sits 10th in the points. They both kind of struggled a little bit at Atlanta, but Mode Motorsports has been a mainstay in this series for a few years now. And they actually ran in the back for most of Atlanta. So for them to, I guess, rebound and show that veteran presence between Matt Bussa, who's a former winner in this series, and Jake Nichols has been in the top 10 at this point of the season every single year for the last 3 years. So Jake Nichols, of course, showing that he can be a veteran in the series as well. Definitely like Mode Motorsports moving forward.
Well, Chris, I was talking about a similar team that there's the same situation in the point standings, where they've been here since the start of the team's standings, and they've been around for a while, and that's Williams Esports. Williams has slowly crept their way into the top 10 in points after having a rough 2020 season, so they're finding their pace, but it's come at flashes for their two drivers in Jake Matheson and Zach Nicholas. Both these drivers are young. They're brand new in the series, rookies for the first time in 2021 here, and they both had podium finishes in separate races from Daytona for Matheson and Atlanta for Nichols. So while they've had these flashes of pace, these guys have got to put a little more consistency, but they're definitely getting back on the right foot and trying to charge for that top spot and get some more consistency in their game.
Hey, since we're talking about all the underdog teams now, guys, I want to take a look at Letarte Esports. I know Steve Letarte's going to love that we're talking about his team right now, but if you look at Bobby Zielinski and Chris Shearburn, and you look at Atlanta right now, they had a great start to that race especially, but the season that they're having right now, top 5 in the team standings, it's just unbelievable compared to where they were 2 years ago. The progress that they have made as a team as a whole is just unbelievable, and it's good to see those cars running up front. I know my boy Santi didn't have the best luck that he wanted last year.
Poor Santi.
Poor Santi. Yeah. But it's really good to see those Letarte cars running up front.
Yeah, and you talk about progress and growth. Well, some of that growth does not come without some growing pains. And a lot of you can hear it and listen to it as we're watching all of this excellent racing going on this season so far. So some of you might call this next segment something maybe radioactive, but we call it open mic. And here's what the drivers had to say during the round of 4.
Let's go.
The road to $300,000 speeds through the Peach State.
Look at that fancy new pace car.
The iRacing sedan.
Like beginning career mode on NASCAR Thunder. I'm trying to get a top 20 out here.
We've had 3 different races, 3 different winners, and 3 different really races play out. We haven't had a repeat winner here except for one, which was John Gorlinski back in the day. So somebody looking to add their name again or add their name as a new winner here at Atlanta.
3, 2, 1, go.
Bro, listen, if we wreck, I want it to be late. I haven't had a chance to actually race for past, I'm always out by 9:30. What the
To be fair, if we do Yeet tonight, there's the Bristol race we can watch in Discord.
Damn, I'm 39th, but I'm not the worst running mode car.
Wow.
Oh man, it's a great showing for the boys here.
God, man, I feel like the fat kid at the go-kart track. Come on, car! Grip, car! Is the spoiler big enough, car?
Conti's probably raging at me from that right there.
Dude, I would be livid.
I'm trying not to give him the top, obviously, but down there, I'm really not trying to mirror drive him. I'm just trying to stay out of their air.
Garrett. Jesus. Off, man. You're literally letting the guy behind us catch you faster. Not that hard to comprehend.
There it is, a big spin behind, hard into the inside wall. The 1 of Ashton Crowder, the 47 of Brian Schoenberg is in the wall also, but no caution. This race stays green.
I'm laughing at Brian.
What happened?
Told Femi he's messing with the wrong person.
Yeah, I know, and then he said, I'm dangerous.
All that happened was Brian got loose in front of Femi while Femi was right on his bumper and Femi tapped him.
No caution.
Dig.
We're gonna try to bring one.
Come on, NASCAR!
I was just racing as close as possible because that's what you have to do to pass.
He's gonna try and bounce off the wall. I knew it! That piece of I knew he was gonna do that.
God, Gorlinski, like, imagine just being a clown.
Yeah.
And wreck, like, actually, people who have nothing to do with your little feud.
That wasn't me, right? Like, I was just...
No, he literally bounced off the wall on purpose.
Isaac Gand, by the way, remember, was running in this position. We thought that maybe he was going to be the one to cycle through to the race lead. He was third. He brought that car down pit road. His night is done.
Flag me. Well.
All right, well, let's maximize what we can here.
They're not going to let me run on the track.
Yeah, it's getting worse.
All right, well, we're pulling it in.
That's so... I mean, part of it, Cattell got UOL'd when he was in the lead one time. Like, you just can't have... Yeah, Michigan. Same race Chris almost won. Cattell was the leader on the entering the last restart. And they sent him to the rear because he's lagging. It's part of it, dude.
Yeah, I guess.
A roommate there just took the lead from his teammate.
Oh, I can't win anymore. Oh, the game doesn't want me to win. I said watch. I said watch. You're going to win this race. I said watch. I said watch. I don't want to jinx him, but...
Last race win came in 2018 at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. A couple of team changes since then, and he's going to end a 44-race winless drought. Final time at turn number 4. It means a lot to him. Logan Clampitt wins at Atlanta.
That was a beautiful piece of driving right there.
Thank you so much, J-Lo. Let's go, baby! Let's go! 2.5 years, man. 2.5 years.
That interview gives me goosebumps all over again, and I think somebody's got shout-outs there.
Still talking about us.
I know, yeah.
We're not irrelevant yet.
Yeah.
God.
One of these times, I'll get a win at Michigan.
You and me both.
The amount of emotion just coming out of all drivers during the whole time, and then some of these one-liners, fat kid at a go-kart track.
Yeah, I didn't know it could be so funny.
Well, it's not even that. Like, I didn't know these guys were like that animated when it came to the races until I did some of these. So I mean, I can't tell who's more animated, those in real life or these guys.
I know, it's absolutely incredible. So there's all of those, and then there's a clip that just, you know, stands above the rest, hits a little harder than the rest of them. And we're gonna file some of those clips away to contend for some of the greatest reactions to be voted on at the end of this season. And here is a look at that clip. Some people call this Radio Sweetheart. We're calling it My Deck.
Gone down to the 51 box and the crew
drama in the
chief and
51
spotter.
box. They're calling each other, but we're not sure if they're serious or not.
The spotter and driver are screaming at each other.
The spotter and driver are both on channel 2.
There's not a car around them. We don't know what they're upset about.
Casey, go to channel 2 now! Nobody else! Listen here, you son of a...
That is
I
great.
cannot believe, you know, I called Ray out. I said that he's going to have to step it up and do a little better this year. We're going to call Joe Gibbs Racing a hot team. And he goes and messes around with Kay Tucker, his spotter. What are you doing, Ray? Come on.
I will say, guys, when you're having that bad of a race, it's nice to have a little fun.
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah, you got to live it up. I mean, I've been in similar situations like that before where you just had to make the best of it. They're definitely doing that.
Yeah, definitely heard some belly laughs in there. So again, that's going to be one of our contenders for one of the greatest clips of the race. We have a lot more of the season to go, so I don't know how we're going to get much better than that, but I'm sure that these drivers are going to prove me wrong. I'm sure of it. So this will be the only time tonight that NASCAR will be traveling to the Auto Club Speedway in Fontana, California at any capacity for this NASCAR season. So for more about this track, we're going to turn to the man with all the information, Chris Overland, for track analysis.
I do have all the information when it comes to this track. I've got no wins, though. Auto Club Speedway opened in 1997. 14 degrees of banking in the corners, 11 degrees of banking on the front stretch, 3 degrees of banking down the back stretch with all of those bumps. The bumps are going to be a huge problem tonight, especially for all these drivers being as close as they are on the restarts, buffing around with the aerodynamics. This is a perfect track to test your skill, and the proof is in the pudding, honestly. If you win this race, the odds that you contend for a championship or even win it someday are high. We have Nick Ottinger, who has won here. Kenny Humpy has won here in the past. Ray Alfala has won here in the past. Ryan Luza has won here twice. So winning here takes skill, it takes aerodynamics, it takes handling, it takes driving skill, it takes strategy. And honestly, this is one of the perfect race for putting together the entire night. You're going to need it tonight if you're going to get the win.
Oh, pretty little bow on it. There's a lot to look forward to tonight, but before we get to the action on the track, let's take a moment to find out what our expert panel of drivers think and who they think is going to get done out in the Wild Wild West. We're going to go ahead and start with Brandon and your pick, and you guys are actually doing pretty well. Brandon, you're first. Did I see it got broken?
Unbelievable.
He's got to catch up still.
I'm still a full race behind somehow. But with that being said, I think tonight the California kid, Bobby Zielinski, is going to take it into victory lane.
From last week.
Yes, I know. I'm stealing you from last week. Bobby, the California kid. I know the California kid in real life do really good here, like Kevin Harvick, Jimmy Johnson. So I think Bobby Zielinski gets it done tonight in California.
I guess that's your method's just to steal all of my picks then, Brandon. If it's not, if not at the same time, it's just the week after.
If you can't beat him, join him.
That's fair. That's fair. Well, I'm picking a driver that I actually did join back in 2018. I'm picking Garrett Lowe, the 21 Wood Brothers Racing team. Finished second here last year. Garrett is definitely overdue for a win. Wood Brothers Racing is overdue for a win. And I think that Garrett actually does what he couldn't do last year. He's going to pass Ashton Crowder for the win, and it's going to work out. It's going to go great. I think Garrett Lowe gets the win tonight. Michael, please pick somebody who finishes last.
Well, that's going to be difficult because this driver has finished very well, especially on these style tracks, 2+ miles, the likes of Michigan and Auto Club. And it's a seasoned veteran who's already won this year, so we're going to break that streak of different winners to start the season. That's going to be Keegan Leahy.
I wouldn't do it.
Keegan is going to be the guy tonight. He's shown a lot of pace on these kinds of tracks, like I mentioned before in previous years. So he knows what it's like to get that speed transferred across each year that he's performed at these kind of tracks. And Auto Club just seems like the right time for him to get back into victory lane.
Let's hope the curse is transferred over to Michael.
I hope not.
Well, I'm trying to hold on to what I got.
To Michael? That's okay to Michael.
Passing it on to Michael. Oh, you need to see that lead knockdown.
Yeah, just a little bit more.
I like it. They call you guys the experts for the reason. This is why we pay you guys the big bucks. So I'm predicting a really great race out in Fontana as well. So really looking forward to tonight. And it's been a great first show with you. So thanks so much for that. Before we leave you on Countdown to Green, we want to bring all of you into the action on Countdown to Green.
Hold on, Amy. Hold on. We want to know who you're picking. Go ahead and make a pick. Let's see.
Who I'm picking.
Yeah, let's see.
I'm rooting for the home team. I'm with you.
All right.
I think he'll be able to get it done.
Let's go. Garrett Lowe.
Yeah.
2 picks for Garrett Lowe.
Absolutely. Yeah. And so thanks for asking, though. I appreciate it. I'm going to need a score, but I really don't want that score to start at 0.
Oh, you'll catch Brandon and no need to worry about it.
We'll give you Brandon's point total, and if you can beat him, we'll give you a lot more points than that.
I might as well not even make any picks.
Oh, man. Well, I'm not the only one that's going to get in on this action. We want everybody at home and all the racers out there to get in. We want to actually see a picture of your rig. So go ahead and show those off. We're going to be showing those off during our next Countdown to Green. Use the hashtag eNASCAR and tag iRacing and NASCAR. Again, we want to see all those photos out there of your rigs. We want to see what you're driving around out there.
Oh, look at her.
Look at that.
Look at her.
Quick release.
Gotta get
That's
some.
amazing. Everything, guys.
Do you look at the focus, though?
The focus is there.
Yeah, you learned that somewhere.
The gear is there. But
Yeah.
what are you driving? Oh, that does not look like a cup car. You got the wind. You're on the right side of the car, aren't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, conversation for another time. I was just testing the wheels of everything. I just figured it'd be good. But that's where those gloves come in handy for sure.
Yeah, those are some serious gloves for sure.
I can tell you about 2 moments later, my tongue pops out because that's what really happens when I'm focusing, you know. But I don't want to be the only one out here. So again, share all of your photos. We want to get you in on the action on Countdown to Green. Again, tweet those, use the hashtag eNASCAR and tag iRacing and NASCAR. And you're going to be able to do this too, right? You're going to show us.
We might put ours out there. I mean, I don't know if ours are going to definitely compete with yours, though.
gonna be impossible to defeat that guy on Twitter who put his sim rig on the toilet. So
That's a true racer right there.
All right, if you got those, send those as well. Thanks again for joining us on Count to Green, refreshed by Coca-Cola. Fans, get ready. But first, let's go ahead and check into the booth. We've got Evan Pasoko and Tim Terry. What are your thoughts on tonight's race at the virtual Auto Club Speedway?
Well, Amy, we're happy to have you with us on the pre-show and part of the program, and we're excited, right? Because this is a weird one. You guys were talking about some of the past winners. It's not really a track that favors one person over another consistently, and it's always kind of a free-for-all with this package. So I'm excited because I don't know what to expect, Tim.
Yeah, you look at the last couple of years you've had. I think back to Eric J. Smith when he went to Victory Lane here 2 years ago. That was unpredictable. First win in the series, and it just really came off the radar. Ashton Crowder last year, big win here. And then some familiar names in that win list. Unpredictability, I think, is the buzzword here tonight.
Not only that, but I'd also say the whole season, with new winners every single week. How long do you think we're going to keep this up?
I want to see it burn, Tim. I don't know about you, but I want to see it keep going, right? I mean, I think it'll give us that unpredictability that you talk about, because we do have a bigger playoff field of 10 drivers this year. If we keep getting different winners, a win may not even mean you're locked in. So, that could be fun. And the way that you can have some late race restarts at a track like this can leave the door open for somebody to get a first-time win. So if I had to go one way, I say continues tonight. Why not?
We chatted with Nick Ottinger last week after the race, and we told him boat's getting full. When the champion's kind of shaking in his boots a little bit, it's kind of looking at trying to win a race and maybe not point your way in. Casey Kerwin may be on top when it comes to the points, but he's going to win a race, I think. I think we're going to get to 10 winners. We might see a repeat winner tonight. I think that Keegan Leahy pick might be good, but we'll see how this all transpires.
Yeah, absolutely. And we actually got to speak with Logan a little bit earlier on Countdown to Green, and he said he's still racing full season, full speed ahead, because he doesn't want to get lost in the point situation you were just talking about as well.
Well, he's thirsty, right? He's not going to be like, all right, I got to win, I'm going to back off. He's going to put it to these guys, because we're not used to having win in, you're in. These guys are used to having to go 4 race wins and still be in contention, right? Because they had to point their way in. So I don't think Logan's going to change his approach. But Tim, I do agree that at some point, I think that's going to be snapped. There's just too many good drivers in this that haven't won yet this season that will get to victory lane, I think, before we get to the playoffs.
All right.
We've heard Hectic describe this race and describe this season, Amy, and I think we're getting ready to see some more of it here.
Absolutely. Thanks so much, Evan and Tim. We'll be right back to you. Thank you so much, fans, for joining us on Countdown to Green, refreshed by Coca-Cola. Fans, get ready. Up next, it's a round of 5 in the 2021 eNASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing season. It's just around the corner.
This Coca-Cola Zero Sugar tastes mighty delicious.
Come on, buddy.
But
if you keep lying like this, you'll be a puppet forever.
It's the honest truth.
You're right. It's delicious.
I never lie.
This is our series, where the stakes are always higher, where virtual meets reality. This is the eNASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing Series.
Yeah, look at my shine with the glow. This is my time with it though. This is my time to be way at the top. Me and my guys gon' pay out the block. I don't look like ball. Time's right, and I know they see us walking in the limelight. Promise you gon' wanna watch like a sci-fi. My guys are high risers, high tide. Might drown if you come to my side. I pledge allegiance for lifetime. My squad connected like Wi-Fi. We grind and you see the highlights. This my life. It ain't a game now. Me and you, we ain't the same now. Lions coming out to play now. Opposition out the way now. Out of the way. You wasn't invited. So you come to play. I dare you to try it. You don't wanna try me. Don't step up to my team. Yeah, out of the way. Yeah, yeah. Out of the way. Yeah, yeah. Out of the way.
The road to $300,000 speeds through the Golden State, where tonight, from the virtual Auto Club Speedway, we say good evening, sim racing fans, and welcome to round 5 of the 2021 eNASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing Series. And happy that you're spending your Tuesday with us, as always. We're alongside Tim Terry. My name is Evan Pasoko. Tim, and everybody got ready to go with this one through Countdown to Green, but we are looking for a potential 5th different winner in 5 weeks. It's been a wild start to 2021, likely to continue tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. This one is going to be wild, hectic, chaotic, whatever you want to use to describe it tonight. Auto Club is going to give us. Do we see a 5th winner? Do we see a repeat winner? There's some big names that have won already this season. They're looking to back it up with another.
And big names that have won here in Fontana as well in the past that have yet to get a win in 2021 either. That's why I'm happy we're not in Vegas anymore. We don't have to put any bets down because who knows how this one's going to shake out. Tim, at a track really unlike many other, with the exception Michigan, which will be the regular season finale later this year. So maybe a preview of what we'll see later on the other of the 2-mile D-shaped ovals.
It's a wide racetrack. Restarts are going to be chaotic. You're going to have to fight your way through traffic. It's going to be interesting when this green flag gets thrown and see where everybody shakes out. We talked about clean air. Keegan Leahy's going to start on the pole. He's going to have it. Everybody else going to be fighting for it.
It's definitely at a premium. Are you going to want to go the shortest way around, down on the bottom, maybe work the middle of the racetrack, which has been kind of the place to be the last couple of years, or do you go up top, maybe try to make that outside work? We're ready to go race seed for round number 5. Let's go trackside and hand things off to President of Auto Club Speedway, Dave Allen, for the most famous words in motorsports.
On behalf of the virtual Auto Club Speedway, I am so proud to be able to say, gentlemen, start your engines!
On pole is Keegan Leahy. It is his 2nd of the year and the 4th in 5 rounds for 23-11 racing alongside John Gorlinski in the number 2 spot. Continuing on through 3rd spot belongs to Gottinger alongside Mitchell DeYoung. Bobby Z, Matt Busa going to make up P5 and P6 with Michael Conti. And last week's winner, Logan Clampitt, through P8. Brad Davies, Knife, Tim, and Ryan Luza rounds out the top 10.
Ashton Crowder, Isaac Gann, your next row. Row number 6. Row number 7 is going to be Chris Shearburn and Stephen Wilson, who has lit it up here the last little bit. There is Garrett Lowe and Derek Justice. Garrett Lowe nearly won this race 1 season ago. Casey Kerwin and Dylan Duval occupy the next row, with Vicente Salas and Zach Nicholas completing row 10.
Dan Millis going to be halfway home in 21st, Ethan Lyon alongside in 22nd. Then a duo, Ken Cook and Graham Bolin on row number 12. Zach Novak start 25th tonight, Bob Bryant in 26th. Alan Bowes will start 27th. Taylor Hurst in 28th. And Blade Witt and Blake Reynolds are your top 30.
And then back in the opportune section, you have Corey Vincent, Ray Alfala deep in this field. Garrett Maines, Jake Nichols, Femi Olat, Malik Ray, Michael Guest, Brian Schoenberg, Ryan Doucette, and Jake Matheson complete your field.
Heard from a lot of those drivers at the back of the pack in the mic check, an open mic from Atlanta a couple of weeks ago. So those drivers hoping to turn things around here in a different racetrack, a different opportunity to try to make some noise. Just so impressed with how good in Q this year 23-11 has been. As I said, that's the 2nd pole for Leahy this year, but the 4th in 5 starts for 23-11. John Gorlinski, though, Tim, going to try to put it to the 32. He's on the outside of the front row, and you're on the radio with the driver of the 18.
It's been a while since we've been able to do this, John. Upside on the front row. What do you got to do to win this thing tonight?
Oh, just be patient and run my own race. There's different strategies out here tonight. I went with a relatively low drag setup, just trying to get that straightaway speed, so I just feel we lacked there. So I probably had a little bit of wind on my lap, but it's nice to see the pace car this close. I was close 2 weeks ago and had a real little run in, so hopefully this week we end up a little bit better. Yes, it has been a while. I think I've had 2 kids since last time I was in one of these interviews.
We hear that this is going to be a chaotic, a hectic race. What are you thinking from the driver's seat going in? What are we going to see over 100 laps?
Well, you're going to have 2 strategies. You're going to have probably about half the field on a 2-stop and the other half's on a 1-stop, and you'll probably be able to tell that real quick who's on what. But you're going to have probably half the field racing extremely hard, and the other half is probably going to be trying to line up and just save as much gas as they can. It's a stretch on 2 consecutive runs, but it's, I believe, going to be faster.
Well, we wish you all the best. Go get him, bud.
Thank you.
That's John Gorlinski, Evan, and it's good to see one of the veterans of this series up on the front row.
Yeah, John Gorlinski, by the way, Tim, the only reputable sim racer that's ever driven a race from my sim. He was here in town a couple of years back, didn't want to miss a Road to Pro qualifier race, and did it from here. There's a look at all the drivers and the onboard looks that we'll be taking a look with over the course of this race, and we'll be checking in with them, checking out the different sim rigs, and kind of bugging them, seeing how their races are going. You can see a lot of different decisions, equipment-wise, which could be a factor in this race. Tim, going racing tonight for 100 laps. Walk us through it with the ASUS race analysis.
It's 100 laps, 200 miles. Pit road speed going to be 50 miles an hour. We get some green flag stops. That's going to be key. The pit lane delta is 22 seconds up and down. A tire set's plenty available for these drivers at 6. Your fuel window about 45 to 50 laps. Try to stretch it to halfway, and we've seen some of these drivers try to do that before. And last year's winner, Ashton Crowder.
Handful of different winners. You had mentioned the likes of Eric Smith getting his first career win here back in 2019, but there are big winners. Luza, only 2-time winner at this track from 17 and 18. The likes of Alfala, Humpy, and Ottinger have all been to victory lane here at the virtual Auto Club Speedway. And we're racing about mid-afternoon conditions. It is relatively warm, but not that bad. Track depth only 84, so we'll see how that as well plays a factor into the tire wear over the course of this 200-mile race. As always, though, we're happy that you're spending your Tuesday night with us on the iRacing Esports Network. The pace car will dive to the safety of pit road, and Keegan Leahy, in control of the field, will be in search of his second win of the year as we say, let's go racing in Fontana. Wide for second, but Leahy leads the opening lap of this race. His teammate Mitchell DeYoung to the bumper, alongside Gorlinski up on the outside.
You know, I'm interested to see how these 2311 cars do and how they race. The last couple of times that they've been on the pole, we've talked to Mitchell, we've talked to Keegan, and they both kind of said, hey, we're not sure how our race run is going to be and how our race pace is going to be. We kind of saw that last week, and now Mitchell to the outside, battle up in front. There goes John Gorlinski to the inside, taking a look here, trying to go to the lead here on lap number 2.
Gonna make that 32 car work. Leahy holds on for now, and in the battle for second, you talk about our defending series champion, maybe getting a little bit nervous with all these different race winners, and clearly Ottinger's got his sights set on victory lane tonight, deadlocked side by side for the lead, and side by side, the battle for third. Behind them, things a little bit more calm, where you see the likes of Clampitt, Zelensky, and Luza, and others. Mid-pack some side by side, but all in all, it's a pretty respectful start to this race coming to the end of lap 3.
Considering as it was built to be wild, I think it's fairly calm up in front, but as we usually say that, it gets a little bit hectic. There goes the Ada Conti taking a look to the inside of Ottinger. Ottinger's teammate back there, last week's winner of Logan Clampitt, trying to battle it out. Maybe some 3-wide racing action, trying to feel it out a little bit early. But this is some great racing action in the first couple laps. They're minding their P's and Q's, Evan. There's a little bit of respect here. We kind of saw in that Countdown to Green show where the tempers have kind of flared the last couple of weeks. But I think right now, everybody's kind of taking that deep breath and is kind of calm right now.
I think that's the one benefit of having, for most of this season, Tim, these races be every other week. It gives them a little bit of time to calm down if somebody's heated after a rough night at the virtual track, and maybe kind of think let better heads prevail, maybe the better way to say it, headed into the next race. Your top three single filing out. It's Leahy, Gorlinski, and DeYoung, and the battle is for now fourth spot as here comes Conti on the inside of the 25. Bit of a slide job. Don't really see that at these big tracks. Pulled up in front. Ottinger saw it coming, went for the crossover. Now he's got the advantage in the 3.
A couple laps in, we're starting to see these drivers make some moves and kind of move around this racetrack. And you mentioned Ottinger, Conti up the hill, John Gorlinski kind of in the middle of this battle as they come out of corner number 4, fan out down the front straightaway. Top of your screen, Steven Wilson trying to bring his car towards the front of the field. And they're about 3 wide back there trying to feel out what they have early in this race. This 2 wide up here is relatively calm compared to those guys back there trying to get everything they can early.
Yeah, there's no guarantees, despite the fact, as you mentioned, that it's billed to be a crazy one, and with Hollywood just down the road, I think a good way to say it is you go on board with Nick Ottinger there in the number 3 spot, but there's no guarantee you're going to have a ton of restarts and opportunities to make your way through, so those guys in traffic definitely incentivized to get going now. Ottinger calm for the moment. The leaders have separated just enough that he can kind of take a bit of a deep breath, and very impressive to see Leahy and DeYoung trying to stretch this one out. 1-2 right now, Tim. We talked about the dominance of 23-11 in racing. Leahy's been able to translate that into a race win earlier this year at Homestead, but DeYoung has not. So I'm curious what that 23 has long run-wise, as we can see the mid-pack here. I questioned early, are they going to be going up top? Well, that multi-groove racing in full effect, and it's allowing these cars mid-pack to go 2, sometimes 3 wide. That bright green number 1 of Ashton Crowder's in the middle of it all in 16.
How about that Space Station gaming car? Vicente's got some really nice purple on that car, and he's going to make it 4 wide to the outside. Going to showcase that one up near that wall, but there goes the 8 of Michael Conti trying to go to the outside of the 25. There's the 4 wide again as that 55 trying to rubber up that outside and trying to pick up 3 spots in one move.
And the very outside did not work. They will whittle it down to just 3 wide off of the corner. Now they'll drop to 2. Graham Boland ended up pretending, tucking it back in line. You're on board with his Smithfield Ford tucked in line. You can see that 55 up top on the outside. Solange trying to get kind of right on the door, pinch him down just a little bit. And again, mid-pack, they are tighter now, I think, than they were coming to the end of lap number 1. These cars get it up to 190 plus miles an hour off it into the corner. 193 that time for Boland.
Man, that's a beautiful looking 55 car. Look at all the details that we saw there with that 10 of Graham Boland. He doesn't want to see them. He wants to be ahead of that 55, and he's done that so far as they run down the back. Well, maybe not. Here comes the 55 back up to the outside, but beautiful detail by the painters at Space Station Gaming on that car.
Always the best here on the sim, right? These guys keep us on our toes as well every single week. I think that one's themed for the SoCal race, so hats off to the Space Station Gaming Group. And Vincente's trying to make moves up top, down 2 from the get-go. Hasn't lost a ton of time, though, but again, a long way to go. Going to be 10 laps down of 100 this time through. You can see a change for 3rd. Michael Conti has been able to get around Nick Ottinger. He'll move up to a race high P3, and now Bobby Zelensky taking a look on the back of the 25.
We're starting to see a little bit of predictability come through at the front of this field. John had mentioned that these guys are on some different strategies, and Evan, you can choose your different strategies when you log on to iRacing.
Absolutely, because with iRacing, every day is race day, and if you want to get in on the fun yourself and get more information on how to start your iRacing career, log on to iRacing.com today for more information. We know that the popular choice, Tim, the last couple of weeks has been Dirt Bristol. Getting everybody excited for what was a barn burner of a weekend plus of racing there. And certainly with this being the lone NASCAR sanctioned trip to the Auto Club Speedway on the 2021 racing calendar, you can jump out here and go racing in SoCal anytime. These guys back here not done yet with the 3 wide. They're going to do it again, this time in the middle of all of it. The number 29 machine of Zach Nichols on the door of Jimmy Mullis. And again, Tim, they go 3 to 2 and then 2 to 4. They're all over the place. Look at in the back there, some cars way up to the outside wall. I think that might have been the Motorsports entry of Kane Cook up on the fence. I mean, it is a wide racetrack, and these guys so far using every single inch of it.
You see the 2 XSET cars in behind this battle as well. They're leading the team championship this season, and Ryan Lewis has kind of fallen back off the start. Casey Kerwin kind of running where he was around that 20th place position. So tale of 2 races so far, comers and goers, even though we've only completed 12 laps this time. By and up the racetrack goes Nicholson. That was a close call at a corner number 4. Great piece of driving there.
And got a little bit closer than he wanted up on the outside fence there, and it's one of those tracks with such long straightaways, front and back, that you get into the fence just a little bit, or you got to get out of the throttle to avoid getting into the fences. Vicente Salas is going to chase him all the way up to the fence, but just enough room for Nichols to squeeze on by. One of those tracks where you really can't afford to get into the fence or lift off of the throttle coming off of the corner, where that momentum is just going to bog you down for solid 3/4 to a full lap before you can kind of get back into the swing of things. More cars migrating to the bottom as they have space, but it is not a universal decision. You can see up the road, Casey Kerwin is way up top, but he'll look to the inside on Mullis in a battle for 16th.
And as we went to this battle's kind of subsided, but there's Brad Davies taking a look to the inside of Lowe in the 21. Remember, Garrett Lowe darn near won himself a race here last year and trying to get back to where he was and try to give himself a little shot in the arm, a little bit of momentum, because he needs some points and needs to get up there and potentially battle for a win and get himself a little bit closer to a playoff ticket. And there's Dylan Duval back there as well in the Stewart Haas Racing Fan Club entry as they come out of corner number 4 and down the front straightaway.
Well, Tim, I was questioning, could this be a preview of Michigan at the end of the regular season? You talk about Garrett Lowe just about having a race win here. He has won in this series. Any guess where it came?
I would say Michigan.
Michigan International Speedway 2019. So he likes this kind of track, and he's making moves through the field, which is the important part to get that out of the way early.
But the question is, do you want to wait until Michigan to really put your playoff chances on the back of your shoulders and have it way down? I wouldn't if I'm these guys.
Yeah, get it done now, right? You like this kind of racetrack. Don't put it off to the final time. So as we continue racing, 15 laps in the books right now from the virtual Auto Club Speedway. I want to welcome back in the track president here from the Auto Club Speedway, our Grand Marshal, to kick things off tonight, Dave Allen, president of Auto Club Speedway. Dave, we appreciate the time, and I know that all our NASCAR fans and SoCal racing fans wish we could be in Fontana this year, but the sim will have to do us over for now. First off, for those who don't know, introduce yourself to everybody tuning in. Who are you? What do you do at the Auto Club Speedway? And what has this last year been like for you and your team?
Well, my name's Dave Allen. I guess first and foremost, I'm a race fan. The lucky guy that's been able to run the track here for quite a few years. So, president of Auto Club Speedway and here in the beautiful Southern California, and obviously the last year has been trying for everybody, as you know, that goes without saying. But unfortunately for our fans and for our staff here, and for the industry, you know, we weren't able to race in California this year. So, you know, having the eNASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing Series run today is pretty spectacular for us, and I think our fans are pretty excited about it. Well, yeah,
I know the West Coast swing is always a staple, right, at the start of the calendar these years. And in and around Auto Club Speedway, we've heard a lot of rumors coming out of that West Coast swing and maybe what it'll look like in a couple of years to come. So what can you tell us, if anything, about that?
Well, yeah, I mean, you know, it's exciting. You know, we continue to explore the possibility of reworking the facility here and possibly shrinking what we do as a racetrack and making an incredible short track. So we continue to push that along. You know, as COVID has affected so many different things, not least of which was time frame too. So we don't have a decision yet, but we're continuing to work towards that and doing our our due diligence and planning and seeing if it's something we can't make work here in Southern California for a long time to come.
I know if it's a big track or a short track, I also introduce myself as a race fan, and I'm just a couple hours down the road. So looking forward to when NASCAR and racing returns to the Auto Club Speedway, and we look forward to that date. But we appreciate your time, and thanks for chatting with us. Hope you enjoy the action here for the rest of the night for the virtual version of your Auto Club Speedway. That is track president here in Fontana, Dave Allen, and Tim, we talk about it being a sister track to Michigan and some of these other places. It is such a fun facility to race at. The road course as well. The mixture has a lot of stuff locally in that area. So I know this racetrack means a ton to the Fontana community.
Yeah, looking forward to the future and whatever that may hold. But some great racing here on the 2-mile configuration. Is we've been seeing some 2 and some 3 wide racing, but for the most part, Evan, it's kind of calmed down a little bit mid-pack as we reach 20 laps completed this time by. There's Keegan Leahy in the 32, and he stretched it out to about a second.
He has checked this one out, and he has opened this thing up. The advantage right now has dipped in the last half a lap or so to closer to 7/10 of a second because Michael Conti is on the move. Before we kind of looked back through traffic, we had said, hey, Conti just got 3rd from Nick Ottinger. Well, he's got more, and how about this? An early call, your race leader to pit road just 20 laps in.
Evan, he can do this 2-stop strategy. He's already got that win in his back pocket, so why not try something different and throw a Hail Mary, right?
And for a 2-stopper, you could go probably about 40 laps, Tim's, or so, somewhere in that range, maybe just a little bit short of that, right? Normally, drivers will go long early. That way, the shorter run is late. They have some flexibility, but I wonder, Leahy talked about the freedom to do this. I wonder if this is going to convince more drivers to dive down. Normally, we hear some radio chatter before drivers dive in. That one was out of the blue. He is getting 4 tires, so it is a full set of service for Keegan Leahy on pit road. It is such a big racetrack that he's going to be awfully close to losing his lead lap. We'll see if these race leaders can buy, and they will. So the early gamble by the man who can afford to puts Michael Conti to the race lead, Tim, and all of a sudden we go from 1 second in between first and second to a 3, maybe 4-way battle for the race lead.
He's the only driver to do so right now, Evan, but he is also the only driver that is 1 lap down. So if there is a yellow flag that kind of throws this out of whack, the only thing that he loses is track position. Mind you, he lost 39 positions in doing all of that. But just keep that in the back of your mind as we continue to race here. And speaking of racing, we're side by side up front.
And it is DeYoung looking to the inside. Zelensky, though, wants to go the long way around. He'll sneak up top, topping in line behind Conti. Do we go 3 wide for the race lead as Zelensky wants to split the difference? Conti too good up top, though. He'll get the run off the banking, and Michael Conti defends the race lead for the moment. It becomes a battle for second. Here comes Leahy, by the way. Lapped car, not for position, but with fresh tires, going to be unlapping himself, Justin.
Yes, indeed. And the interesting thing when it comes to Keegan Leahy, before the race, he messaged me saying to expect a crazy fuel strat planned if this goes green. This was not to be expected in terms of how crazy this could be, but this is a discussion point for many of the teams across the radio is fuel strategy on trying to stretch it here to a 1-stopper or potentially to around lap 40 or so, depending on how things bear out. As well, for Ryan Luza, a bit of trouble earlier on in this race. He is not happy over the radio.
I don't even want to keep running. Literally no point.
Do whatever you gotta do, brother.
Luza ended up getting involved with contact a little while ago. He's back in 39th position. That's a minus 29 on the race.
Yeah, Tim, that is tough. He started in 10th position and is way down. A far cry from 2017 at 18 when he got back-to-back race wins here in Fontana. And up front, it is now Zelensky back on through ahead of Nick Ottinger. DeYoung slips to 4th, and Nick Ottinger wants some more to the inside for P2.
And it looks like they are having an absolute blast up here, battling it out for position. They've been going back and forth, switching lanes, crossing each other. It's all been, for the most part, behind the WR1 Sim chassis number 8 of Michael Conti, but they are putting on a show. There we go again. There goes Zelensky to the inside. This is fun to watch.
Just listening to how he worked that throttle difference between the bottom of the racetrack and up top, and the bottom gets Zelensky through, but again, it's all that momentum that top side carries multiple grooves and option here at Auto Club Speedway, and the 25 car was able to make up all the ground that he lost in the corner with the speed off. Watch this again. Zelensky to the bottom. He's going to pull alongside him, get right to the door, and then there he goes, pulling off the corner there up top. So these drivers have got options. Let's see if Ottinger can close the gap now to Conti. Because, Tim, this battle has really been more so for second on back, right? Conti's been left out of this for the most part. We'll see if they can get up to them or if they're going to keep fighting amongst themselves for second best.
And as you see the battle coming off of corner number 2, and they're having that fun, they're changing lanes and they're putting on a show, but as soon as they get back to single file, they zoom right back up to Michael Conti, and now Conti may be a part of this battle, whether he likes it or not, as the 8 car leading this thing. They continue to be side by side and behind. They lose this time, Evan, and then they get single file and right back up to the 8 car.
Right up and into the mix. Michael Conti been competing in this series since 2011. Multi-time race winner. Of course, a champion back in 2014. Tim hasn't finished outside of the top 10 in points since 2016. I mean, a model of consistency. And Virginia Motorsports piloting that WR1 Sim Chassis Chevy this year goes right back down to the inside on your defending champ, Nick Ottinger. The Logitech entry for William Byron Esports takes the lead back, and a little bit further back in traffic, more fighting going on. The number 24 machine at the forefront of all of this. That's Jake Nichols in 26th, and it's good to see Tim, the mid-pack hasn't changed at all. They are still all on each other.
Fighting for every position that they can get and try to further themselves up. Look at this battle. Battles all throughout the racetrack. They were almost 3 wide at one point for the lead here. Now they get back to 2 wide. Ottinger takes it back. Conti slices down to the inside. This is great. Pick your poison. Which one do you want to watch? It's great racing all around.
Rinse, wash, repeat. Let's do it all over again. It's almost like a plate race. Somebody sets somebody up to make a move. They get to the race lead, and then within a half a lap, that one is gone. I can't wait to see maybe not the different amount of leaders in this race, because this core group of 4 or 5 has broken away, right? And Leahy led so many. So guys like Zelensky and you got DeYoung in there in the mix. Even Logan Clampitt. Don't look now. P5 joining the party as well, all looking to get a bonus point and lead a lap in this one as well. But the lead change number, I suspect by the end of the night, going to be quite a big one, and that only counts, Tim, the lead changes at the line, right? Not the 4 that appear to be happening during the lap in between the start finish.
You know, that's a nice stat. It's a nice stat to lead all the laps, but you want to get that win to lock yourself into the playoffs and potentially become the 5th different winner of the season, or if you're in the case of Michael Conti, get one more and put that in the back pocket. But as they continue to do this up in front, it's closing in. Logan Clampitt, you mentioned. Chris Shearburn would be next as Bobby Zelensky goes for the lead. He'll go side by side with the 8 of Michael Conti. I'm kind of surprised that they're doing a lot of this, because they're bringing some more traffic in behind. What was a 4-car battle may very well be a 6, 7, 8-car battle here before long.
Yeah, Leahy pitted, it opened things up, but the fact that they're fighting so hard is what is keeping this open for everybody else. Conti, the bottom, Zelensky, the middle, Ottinger, the fence. I mean, you can go wherever you want right now. And again, it's allowed guys, like I mentioned, Clampitt into the mixture. You talk about, how about Chris Shearburn, 13th to 6th? He's not that far off. Stephen Wilson, Matt Busa, 7th and 8th, within a second and a half of the race leaders as well, looking in. So yes, you have the ability to put these moves on and work hard for the lead. Obviously, Tim, not concerned about burning up the tires or anything because they are racing hard. 32 laps in from Fontana. It was Leahy early. He's since pitted, and Bobby Zelensky leads a 5-car battle since. You're watching round 5 of the eNASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing Series.
This Coca-Cola Zero Sugar tastes mighty delicious.
Come on, buddy.
But
if you keep lying like this, you'll be a puppet forever.
It's the honest truth.
You're right. It's delicious.
I never lie.
And back live from the virtual Auto Club Speedway, coverage of tonight's race is brought to you by Coca-Cola, the official fan refreshment of the eNASCAR. And by DoorDash, proud sponsor of 2311 Racing. Well, a handful of drivers, Tim Terry, dashing their way through the field early in this one, but we have finally reached what we thought was going to be the pit strategy. White talking all night about a two-stop strategy. Well, that makes sense right now, right at the 1/3 marker, and everybody has been flocking to pit road once you saw Nick Ottinger and company come down pit road on side-by-side.
And you see some more come down to pit road, led by, it looks like, Garrett Lowe. You got Jimmy Mullis down there on pit road as well. Ryan Doucette going to his box. But when you look at the strategy, yes, we have the Keegan strategy. We have I think the majority strategy of what we have now, around 35, give or take. And if you're at the back of the field, if we can go 50 laps on fuel, I wouldn't mind stretching it, get some track position and try to get something happening, especially if you're in the mid to the back of the pack. But how about this guy, Matt Busa from Mode Motorsports, putting up a great run here tonight. He's had a dismal start to the season, hasn't had the runs that he's wanted to. I think this is the earliest we've talked about him during a race, Evan, being up front, and he was up here battling with the leaders as they were kind of crisscrossing each other. So great to see Busa up here.
And he had to do something this past year, Tim, that he hasn't had to do in a long time, and that was requalify back into this. Right after finishing 23rd in the 2020 standings, was able to just make the mark in the eNASCAR Road to Pro iRacing qualifier, the Contender Series, I should say, on the road to get back to this Coca-Cola Series. And obviously with some determination, as he will decide to dive down pit road, could that hand things over to Derek Justice for an opportunity to lead a lap? Yes, it will. The 37 car out in front here at the moment, closing in on that halfway point, Tim. So the thing that I took away from what you were saying there is you would do the opposite of what Keegan did, because he wanted to go way early. You're saying, hey, it might not hurt to go way late.
I look at a guy like Brian Schoenberg, because Brian is used to this strategy where he stays out as long as he can to try to get to that end of that race and try to pick up what he can. He was near the back of the field. I think this is a Brian Schoenberg type strategy.
Let's go and ride on board with our DoorDash onboard camera. As you can see, some of those cars coming by on the outside, and it is the battle alongside the number 25 machine up on his outside. You are riding with Mitchell DeYoung. And with the exception of his teammate, Tim, of course, Keegan, well ahead on a very different pit strategy outside of that. Through that pit cycle, Mitchell DeYoung, the leader of this strategy, getting ahead of the likes of Ottinger and others, so he's leading that group of cars.
So we're looking at about 14 that have not come down pit road yet, still led by Matt Busa. Derek Justice is trying to get a little bit closer to that lead, but hasn't been able to get within that about 1 second mark of that lead. And then you have Mitchell, and there's Derek right there. Take a look, and you can listen to what he's doing, trying to save some fuel here.
Getting way out of it, too.
Yeah, absolutely is. You can kind of see the look on his face, maybe looking down at that dash. You saw the RPMs there, trying to gauge that and trying to walk that fine line of saving enough fuel to get to 50 and then trying to save enough on that second run to get there. Remember Blade Witt a couple of weeks ago, Evan, where he tried to save enough to get to the end of the race and just fell about 5 laps short? you don't want to screw it up on the first half of this run to leave yourself short on the other half. And I think that's what Derek's seeing. You can kind of see him take a look down below at his gauges.
In the sim is something that the crew chiefs loved him because there is no such thing really of going down pit road and accidentally not packing it full of fuel, right? The gas man can't leave a little bit of gas still in the canister. You come in, you set how much fuel you want to put in the car, it's going to be full. And as well, the team's crew chief, spotters, everybody else in communication with him, Tim, are obviously relaying that information to him on what he's trying to hit because they can have those calculations on what number they need to get to make that strategy work.
And he's also trying to reel in the leader. There's Isaac Gann on your screen. He is the third car in this battle that's on this strategy. There are your two leaders, and Derek's trying to reel in Matt for the lead. Matt is kind of backpedaled a little bit, and maybe he's saving a little more than Derek is, but maybe that's what he needs to do strategy-wise to get there because he was a part of that battle early before the other leaders came down on the pit road. So maybe he's got to save a little bit more. Maybe he pedaled a little bit harder.
Putting in the work, right? That 37, I mentioned he had gone to the lead a while ago, but he has stayed up there with the exception of Busa being able to make that pass on him since. The number is still your top 14. So if they are all at this point, Tim, it would seem trying to push it to halfway and make it a one-stopper. Honestly, I'm pretty impressed that it's that big of it. I would have thought it would have been maybe lower.
As you see Blade Witt come through here, maybe 3 wide through the middle, battle for the lead at the same time. Why not? We'll go 3 wide down there. Derek Justice will try to take that outside to the lead. But to your point, Evan, you look at the positions where these drivers started, with the exception of John Gorlinski, but he faded early in the race. You look at all these drivers, we got some 30-something starters in this field that work their way up and are on that strategy. So this is, I agree with you where the number is big, but I think it's track position and these guys trying to make something happen and trying to benefit where they were running in the low 20s and early 30s and try to get as much as they can out of this.
We talk about some drivers working their way up through the field. How about Isaac Gann in the number 44 machine? New color on board, that Clickerman Sport Chevy this evening with Valvoline on the hood as always. We talk about the teams and those calculations and all that communication that goes on between the driver and the rest of their team. Well, let's listen in to some live audio with the driver Isaac Gann in third and his spotter David Schildhouse.
Gorlinski in your mirror, got 10 back. Derek ran a 75, you ran an 80, 30 in your mirror. And 5 behind you. Everyone's pushing harder behind you right now. Of those who stayed out, you're the slowest last time by. Although Busa might beat you now for that one.
These guys behind me are gunning.
Yeah, no, they've definitely stepped it up. They're probably good on their number because they were saving. Don't let that make you drive harder than you need to. Let Derek pull you around here. I'm going to start lap 49. Everybody's clutching going into one. Bob's pushing really hard right now. He's P5. Nice and smooth. Hit your marks.
You got
Vincent,
me covered,
with you on
Brad?
Pit road.
Yep, all set.
It says
Beautiful
no
first
damage.
It goes to show you, Tim, a spotter's job is far more than just saying car inside and car outside, right? And as Isaac Gann brings it down to pit road, that is going to be a big exodus of cars to pit road because we are halfway home. This time by 50 down, 50 to go, which will cycle things around and hand the race lead to Keegan Leahy. And then this is battle for the best of the rest. Some big names in this, the likes of Conti, Clampitt, and others.
Still some drivers to come on to pit road. Derek Justice down the last time by. John Gorlinski is still out in front and technically your leader, but these drivers here have been putting on a show all night long and continue to do so. The likes of Conti and the two William Byron Esports teammates in Clampitt and Ottinger, but they continue to work around, and there is the 77. That is Bob Bryant, and I believe he just worked by John Gorlinski. He is your leader. Gorlinski to pit road.
And it's Gann's teammate who stays out there and will assume the number one position ahead of some other drivers, Bosa, Gast, Schoenberg, Gorlinski, all diving down to pit road. And one thing as well that I was thinking about, Tim, listening to that audio and looking at Isaac and David there is I am sure a real-life spotter would love spotting the sim, right, Tim? At a big track like this, you don't need binoculars to see what's going on off of turn number 2. You can be in the sim, set up whatever camera angle you want, and get as much info to your driver as you can. I'm sure it's a huge luxury compared to spotting in the real world.
And you know what? That might be something we can ask David Schildhouse, because I know he used to spot for a Camping World Truck Series team back in the day, so that might be something we can ask David. But the one thing that I did see when we were looking at Isaac Gann and David Schildhouse, Isaac's kind of in the dark. We kind of saw that shot a little bit earlier with Nick Ottinger, a little bit of lighting in the back, but maybe just trying to focus on that. David's got a lot of light around him. Pastel colors, Easter is coming, so some differing strategies on light too, as we looked at the in-cars or the onboards. But there is Bob Bryant still on the racetrack and trying to get every sip of fuel he can. But look at that top 3 up there, Leahy and Zielinski moving back in. Bob might be the Lone Ranger out here.
I mean, it's a good point that's not brought up enough, Tim, but a lot of drivers take that into serious consideration as Bob Bryant comes down pit road and locks him up for a good 5 seconds, trying to slow that car down to 55 miles an hour. But he does is the fact that you are looking at screens. If you're the driver, you're probably not blinking a lot, right? You're locked in and you're staring for a long time. There's going to be a lot of eye strain. Some drivers ought to go with kind of that harsh blue light filter on their monitors to darken things down. Some drivers want the room they're in to be brighter so the screens aren't super bright in a dark room. Other drivers have the opposite train of thought. So these are all things that these drivers keep in mind. We're going to be staring at a screen, maybe not in a huge long race like this, only 2 hours, but certainly when you add up all the practice time, and definitely for some of these guys that do endurance stuff, those kind of preferences in your setup to make yourself as comfortable as possible are all definitely valid factors. And that now has put a bow tie on pit strategy, and Keegan Leahy, who pitted some 34 laps ago on his own, just 20 laps into this race, has cycled through to the race lead, and the roommates are fighting for 4th and 5th. Here comes Conti up on the bumper of the 97.
And now they both have wins this season. As you watch that battle, the roommates have put on a couple of trophies, a couple of win stickers on their race cars and on their rigs. And I'm sure there's a little bit of friendly rivalry between them. Who's going to win the second one and who's going to win it quicker, albeit they want that championship at the end of the season, Evan. But I'm sure there's a little bit of a friendly competition now in between the two. And right now, Logan Clampitt's ahead of it.
We saw that Michael was happy to see that Logan got that win last week, and we talked about how emotional it was for Logan to move in cross country, being roommates with Michael Conti, to get his first win in this series away from his family. And you can tell that they support each other, Tim, not only in just that, because Michael came over to congratulate him, but they have fun too, right? Remember how Michael put nice big sponsor placement in the back for Logan's interview, right? So those guys get along well, and that's a very talented duo running top 5 in this race. And we talked about how good William Byron Esports was. Of course, if you saw it this past week on FS1, William Byron with a win in the eNASCAR Pro Invitational Series 2021 opener. Just about got himself a win at Bristol on Monday. He was up front for a lot of that race. Well, those William Byron Esports cars won 2 at Atlanta and doing good here tonight as well, sitting 4 and 6.
I'll be interested to see if that poster is still behind Logan Clampitt if he does get a top 3 tonight and get on the podium, because last week he logged on and did a Twitch stream the next day, and that Michael Conti poster, Evan, was still in behind him. So there was some celebration going on, but that hasn't been on or hasn't been moved from the back. JP, what's going? Pit stop's already completed for the first round.
Yes, indeed, and that's been a talking point for many of the teams. Let's take a listen in, though, with Steven Wilson. He's up 7 spots so far.
For some reason, I'm really thinking this Keegan pitting, lap 20, is the biggest burn thing ever.
Yeah, he's, 10 seconds in front of...
He's 5 in front of Mitchell.
Oh, now he's in front of Mitchell.
But I feel like we're not gaining a full second on him a lap.
No, he was 10 seconds, 10 laps ago.
So it's not that big burn. I was thinking it was huge brain. Keegan really.
I mean, how long till you guys even out? I don't know.
What's Keegan's lap times?
In Leahy, 41.1.
And that's been a talking point for many of the teams, has been that strategy. Keep in mind that for Leahy, it was a discussion right up until the lap they came into pit initially to go on this call to go for a pit stop at lap 20 and the pit stop at lap 60. They had taken massive swings on top of it to get the pace, and they were still in potential lead coming into that pit stop sequence.
Lone Ranger pits again. He came in at lap 20 on his own. He just came back down to pit and is now good for the end. He's lost the lead lap once more, but Leahy is going to try to stretch this one out, and he can do it on fuel, so he's locked into it to run this race 42 laps to the end. Only driver on that call, Tim. Outside of the 32, I'd say almost 50-50 between 2-stopper or 1-stopper, but for everybody else, Keegan Leahy is the oddball here. And hope you're enjoying to this 5th race of this 2021 eNASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing Series. For more information on series schedule, standings, and even info on how you can start your career and try to work your way to be a driver in this series, log on to iRacing.com/eNASCAR.
And Evan, if you haven't yet, go check out that media guide that's on that iRacing.com/eNASCAR. That's a great tool to get to learn about these drivers, get to see who's won what, get to see last year's results. Everything that you'd ever want about the series for 2021 is over there. As Michael Conti is coming on to pit road, did maybe that strategy that Keegan Leahy was on and Steven Wilson and the crew were talking about, did that form hands here maybe?
This has got to be an audible because Conti was nowhere near Leahy on the first pit cycle. Michael Conti pitted with everybody else, Tim, just 27 laps ago. He's going to go from a 27-lap run to a 40-lap run to the end of the race. So I think this is going to be a gamble and an audible call for the 8 team. See what Leahy was doing. You heard other teams were talking about it. Did Leahy figure something out and kind of trick everybody else for the undercut and surprise them? I think this is Conti responding.
And Conti in the same boat. He's got to win. There's Shearburn down on the pit road as well. But you look at that run, Keegan went 20, 40, and he's going to go 40. You've got Michael Conti with a 27-lap run kind of in the middle. So the runs, the laps aren't too far off, Evan, but it's just a different way to skin a cat, I guess, at the end of the day. But we'll see where these guys all shake compared to the one-stop. Look at that run by Jimmy Mullis.
It's right up alongside, but pulling him up the corner in that battle for position is the twin over to Garrett Lowe. That's a battle for 8th and 9th right now, and wasn't shocked when it was Leahy went off strategy, Tim. He has a win. Wasn't shocked that it was Conti who maybe changed his mind. He has a win. Maybe a bit surprised that Chris Shearburn's going to roll the dice here. The Asus Republic of Gamers Chevy is down and off the pit road, and an interesting call for the driver who started in 13th position and had worked his way to a top 10. Are you willing to risk the top 10 finish to maybe roll the dice and go for the win? His answer, yes, for the moment. And Zelensky, your current leader, ahead of this battle. Ongoing still for 8th and 9th. Garrett Lowe just ahead of, now behind, I should say, the 46 of Jimmy Willis, but pushing him all the way down the corner and in the mix as well. Casey Kerwin, Tim, pretty quiet for the XSET number 38 machine. Started 17th in this race. He's up to P7.
And that is the driver that has amassed the most points this season through 4 races. Jimmy Mullis is not exactly where Casey Kerwin is. There's Garrett Lowe down on pit road. Jimmy Mullis and that Sunoco team, they need a good run for Richmond Raceway Esports. Coming in, Jimmy Mullis was 27th in points. Zach Novak was 30th in points. So they're trying to pull up their socks a little bit here at Auto Club.
And those are some experienced drivers, right? Mullis clocking in as a 4-time winner in this series. Zach Novak, a 6-time winner. And a bit of a slumping out for about a year and a half, and starting to see some positive trends for that duo. Trying to figure things out. Of course, the most recently, Novak a champion in 2019. But it feels like Conti's decision to break off strategy has everybody else feel much more comfortable with the idea of mid up. Salas is on pit road, so Reynolds, Olot do set down pit road. So several drivers, Tim, after being very orderly, right? Almost everybody pitted right at 1/3 distance. Almost everybody else pitted at halfway. Those halfway guys aren't going to go off, right? They have made their 1 pit stop. They want to go to the distance, but these 2-stopper cars are kind of all over the wall now.
And you can kind of play around with those strategies as we look back at the 38. Some great camera work by Alex Horn and his crew to get shots off the shark fin. And looking back down as Stephen Wilson is down onto pit road. You see Ryan Doucette already completing his pit stop in the Boyer Racing car. There's Dylan Duval in the Stuart Haas Esports car. Pitt Davies, and he's being joined by a bunch of friends.
Tim, I think Dale's got a nickname for those spoilers, but I don't know if we're as charismatic enough to get away with it, so we'll just refer to the shark fins and leave it at that, as everybody is diving down pit road. About a half a dozen cars every lap in and out at this point.
I think we need to keep an eye on this car right here, this Letard Esports VRS number 83 of Bobby Zielinski, because he kind of holds the can right now to try to figure out of these guys that we're on the 2-stop strategy at around 40 or so, or 35 or so, to come down onto pit road. Mitchell DeYoung, and behind him Logan Clampitt. And there's the 46 of Jimmy Mullis, the 10 of Graham Boland coming onto pit road for what should be their final stop of the evening. But you'd have to think with these drivers here that are making these pit stops, they'd have to think that this race is going to stay green until the end.
And that is the look off of the back of Jake Nichols. You can see that very thin apron and that blue line there, Tim. That's the blend line in iRacing, and a blue cone to go with it. You cannot blend up and off of the apron and onto the racing surface until you get past that blue line and blue cone. iRacing is often used in the NASCAR drivers' meetings as an example of blend lines, and it's pretty black and white in the sim. You gotta wait till you get to the cone and the line before you can blend back up. There is a hard drive on the pit road, locking up the tires and then some for Ray Alvala in the back in the Rowdy Energy VRS Century for Joe Gibbs.
And there's a driver that sits 36 in the point stand coming into this evening's racing action, so he needs everything that he can get this evening.
A lot of drivers. And talking about Bobby Zielinski, Tim, the driver who you mentioned to be the one to watch, he is down pit road. He brings Mitchell DeYoung, Logan Clampitt, 1, 2, and 3, all down pit road. Clampitt comes in from the number 4 spot. 6th is in as well. So these are the drivers who aren't throwing the sink out the window, if you will, Tim, because well, they are at 2/3 distance. This makes sense in accordance with the first set of pit stops. These are the drivers who I think are on the same strategy. I mean, the most strategic one, maybe. We'll see where all those other outliers fall in between, because soon, Justin, all the drivers who hit it at halfway are going to start to cycle to the front.
But don't forget about the number 77 who pit just past halfway. Take a listen to this.
Try and tow you along so you don't have to save as much, because I don't have to save.
So you're on kill? You went how many more laps than I did?
I'm on kill, buddy.
In other words, he is not saving right now. Bob Blaine is focused on trying to push as hard as he can right now, guys. He is trying to gain as much time as he can on the track.
Exactly what you want. You want to get that save out of the way early, Tim, because if you get in a battle late, you do not want to have to kind of hold yourself back from a fight, because you know you got to watch the RPMs and hit a lap time and make sure you're lifting. So I mentioned right there, the cars who pitted at halfway are going to start to cycle to the front. Bob Bryant seems to have things figured out. if he can go, quote, full kill to the end. The question is, will those tires be enough to keep him up front, or will the cars who just pitted decide to come through the field with that advantage? As we watch Bob Bryant and others, let's ride with our Coca-Cola onboard camera. Here with Corey Vincent. And Corey, Tim is one of the drivers who pitted at halfway. He's been out there for about 22 laps since he was last in. That would really love for this strategy to work out, because he started 31st and he's up to the top 5.
And he can see the leaders up ahead of him. We mentioned the Bob Bryant strategy to go all out here, and he's going to have to make up some time. He has in the last couple of laps, and if you're Corey Vincent and you're seeing those guys up in front, you kind of have to do two things. You have to manage the gap between yourself and the leader, but also save that little bit of fuel in case you need it at the end. And up in front is Derek Justice, and we know how quick Derek was compared to these other cars on this strategy near the end of the run. This is going to be intriguing to see if Keegan Leahy and these guys can kind of work their way up and make their way into a position to win this thing if this stays green to the end.
I think with the exception of Blade Witt, who pitted 35 laps ago, and I don't think that's going to put him on a number to be able to make the end of the race. With the exception of him, everybody else ahead of Keegan Leahy is on a one-stop strategy, meaning they are, in theory, done with their pit service for the night. So every pass you see now inside the top 10 is going to be consequential. Leahy is 15th. He is faster than all the cars in front of him. He's going to start working through the field. Michael Conti is several seconds behind Keegan, pitted shortly thereafter him. He's also going to start working through the field, Tim. So feels like we didn't even get a second full cycle of pit service, but all these guys up front, with the exception of Witt in 7th, they hope at least good to go the distance.
But we've got Isaac Gann and we've got Derek Justice up in front. You know what this reminds me, Evan? This reminds me of 2 years ago where Eric Smith kind of broke through and went to victory lane in his rookie season. We may end up seeing it again.
Hard to pinpoint who's in the catbird seat right now. Derek Justice is leading late in Fontana. You're watching the eNASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing Series on the iRacing Esports Network.
This Coca-Cola Zero Sugar tastes mighty delicious.
Come on, buddy.
But
if you keep lying like this, you'll be a puppet forever.
It's the honest truth.
You're right. It's delicious.
I never lie.
With 23 laps left to go from Fontana, coverage of tonight's race is brought to you by Coca-Cola, the official fan refreshment of eNASCAR. and by Asus, the official gaming hardware partner of the eNASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing Series. Alongside Tim Terry, my name is Evan Pasoko, caution-free thus far from the virtual Auto Club Speedway, this time by 22 laps to go for the one-stoppers. Leahy leading everybody else, has started to make moves, Tim. He is 6 seconds off on this three-way battle here between Bryant, Justice, and Gann.
And then he's got about 4 seconds or so back to Michael Conti, who is kind of on the same strategy as he is. So this is going to kind of accordion back together. It's a matter of how quick Keegan Leahy can get up here and what kind of pace these guys can set. They are putting on a great show up here. Some drivers that need a great run, kind of turn around their early part of the season. And Derek Justice doing a great job holding on here to position number 2. Maybe he's saving a little bit more right now than Bob Bryant ahead of him.
We heard Bob Bryant was good to go the distance. Is that the same for Justice and Gann? Are they able to go all the way to the end, or are they still saving? Let's ride with Gann. He sits third. That is a lot of lift in the corner, Tim. A combination of course, being right behind the car in front of you and these tires being pretty old. It's only going to get worse as we get closer to the...
Yeah, they continue to work around. You hear that lift, and we're going to listen in to David Schildhaus and Isaac Ganning here and see what they have to say as they work through this.
It was a consequential pass when Bryant got around Justice, and you know that Gann wants to get up there to second before that 77 gets too far away. And we heard last time we listened into with these two that Schildhaus isn't going to stick to just car in, car out.
10th and a half faster than the last time, but still 6 seconds back.
Yeah, that ain't enough.
No. Unless it falls off quickly and evens out, or he gets a lot of fighting from people.
It's going to get hard on him every lap.
Yeah. He's not our concern. Everyone behind you is running similar lap times of the one-stoppers, within a 10th.
So they feel like they're on the right strategy.
Bob's got 30 laps on his tires.
And Evan with the management, I think they're right.
I think it was, quote, "He's not our concern," referring to Leahy and those other drivers on the little bit fresher tires. They don't feel like that's enough of an advantage to catch them with 18 laps to go. Well, if that box is checked, question is, can they get the win from third?
Yeah, I think if they can save enough, they might be able to get there.
Looks like it's dropping just a little bit. You can see Isaac is working hard on the wheel there as he tries to keep Justice and Bryant within touch. Bryant was a lot closer the last couple of times around, but it looks like 1 and 2 pulling just a bit on that 44 car at the moment.
That was a very good lap, Isaac. Both you and Derek ran 19s, leader ran a 29, 33 in your mirror. This is 35 laps for you on tires, 34 for Derek, 32 for...
And Evan, looking at lap times right now, they're pretty similar to what Keegan Leahy's turning right now, at least for Bob Bryant.
Leahy put down a 41.225 the last time by. We'll see what it is this time through. Gone, or sorry, goes 2:30. And you can see David relaying that information to his driver, Leahy, for 160. So it bounces back and forth just a little bit, but overall, they're pretty even.
And with that little gap, there's not enough over 15 laps.
And there's layers of communication going on right now. So David House, the spotter's talking to his driver. You may notice Isaac's talking, but you're not hearing him on the radio to his spotter. Could be actually talking in sim and communicating with other members of the team. They've got a lot of options on they want to talk to.
Could be other drivers on track as well, communication all around.
Yeah, remember when the NASCAR Cup Series had that where anybody could just hop on the radio and talk to somebody else on track? You've got it all the time on the sim.
I'll tell you here in a sec. No clutching.
It's an interesting strategy here going forward.
And I just feel like, I mean, the lap times look good for Gann there, Tim, but the gap now, he's 1 second off of Bob Bryant in the lead, and they're getting further and further away. Not that they'll complain about a third. They started 12th. It looks like they made the right strategy call, but I don't know if they've got enough for the teammate.
Out back.
And I think, Tim, somebody told him he's on camera because he gave us a bit of a wave there.
At least he can lay a little bit loose as he's driving this thing, right?
This is about to be the 12 longest laps of my life.
Third, right? I'm not sure if he's getting to the top spot.
Too. Let's get him in. That's 36 laps for Bob on tires. Lap times reflect that. Derek 0.2 slower last time.
And they still feel like they have a chance, but they have more than a second and a half to the car in fourth behind them, John Gorlinski. And you heard Schildhouse mention that just a lap ago. So it is at worst, looks like a third for Gann here with only opportunity to pick up this time by 11 laps to go.
Third is a great points night, but it's not a win and a playoff ticket, so I'm sure that's in the back of their mind too.
And funny, when we saw Leahy split off, yes, he's a race winner. No, Mitchell DeYoung is not one, Tim, but those 2311 cars went opposite directions on the strategy. Hoodrum and Sport running 1-3 right now. So that clearly was a decision that they wanted to run this one out from the get-go. Those team cars running first and third. The middle of that sandwich is, of course, Derek Justice in the 37, and it feels like it's going to be these cars, 1, 2, 3. Leahy has stalled out in 11th. Conti can't get any better than 18th for the moment. But does it stay green to let these guys race it down? And if it is down to these three, in what order do they get home?
I think the other kind of wrinkle in this strategy we have to watch, Evan, as we get to 10 to go, it's not going to be a winning strategy, but Bobby Zielinski, Mitchell DeYoung, they've passed Michael Conti. They're about a second or so behind Keegan Leahy, and they're getting, a tenth or two each lap. So I think Bobby might get to Keegan before this thing is all said and done. I don't think they're getting here for this battle up front without a yellow.
And remember, it was Conti who went off strategy, pitted at the 1/3 marker in this race, but came down far earlier than what would have been the 2/3 point after we saw Leahy come down. Those other drivers that you mentioned, DeYoung and company, stuck to the strategy and came in basically with an equal length run on par with the two-stopper.
And I think these three, and you heard David Schildhouse kind of talking about the gap back to John Gorlinski. That gap is still over a second and a half back to the 16th. There's a great shot of it out back, and then in behind them. Looks like a battle on our hands between Zach Nichols and Matt Busa for position number 5. So these guys that are saving outside of this top 4, they're on attack. They want to get every position they can at the end if they can see it.
On board with the number 29 machine of Zach Nichols. He is the one trying to chase down Gorlinski in a battle that is not for position. Up the road is Blade Witt, but Matt Busa is within striking distance. That's the 75 on the fence.
And oh, by the way, as he's saving, as he's trying to get every little bit of fuel he can, as you look at Mr. Nichols there, you look in that rear view mirror, there's Corey Vincent. You look in the rearview mirror, there's Michael Guest. So not only do you have to attack and save fuel, you've got to defend too. Mr. Nichols has his hands full.
How about this group of four? You know, you got Vincent 31st to 7th, Guest 37th to 8th, and Maines and Ray started 33rd and 36th respectively. So they have been on the move, and clearly impressive with the strategy as the battle for 10th picks up the number 11 Malik Ray. Bobby Zelensky and Zach Novak, I think, going to overpower before this one's done as the 32 makes the pass up top.
And there's Zelensky and there's Mitchell DeYoung in that mix as well. And we talked about them sticking to their strategy as opposed to Keegan and Michael on the short strategy, say still two-stop but a little bit shorter than the others. Bobby Zelensky, I believe, is going to get Keegan Leahy here. It's just a matter of time as we look at the number 11 of Malik Ray, matching his number right now on the scoring pylon.
We had him for a minute. Maybe he's taking a break to have a drink or something as he rides at 11th position right now. But, I mean, he is up a mammoth 24 spots. And it's a pretty crazy race that is, you know, not the biggest mover of the race when plus 24 is only about third best in the field right now. And Zelensky makes the move. He's not going to let him walk away with this one, fighting back to the bottom, but the tire difference going to be the difference there. Malik Ray's tires 44 laps old. Bobby Zelensky's only 26 as we see 5 laps to go.
Good to see Garrett Maines up here part of this battle as well and trying to get a top 10 finish here and lock down another good run that he's had this season. But with 5 laps to go with these drivers, some of them are saving, some of them are on attack mode. There's a lot of different agendas here working forward in these final few laps.
And big points could be up for grabs for these drivers. Malik Ray would love to get this thing home right where it sits now at about 12th spot. Going to fall to 13th if DeYoung going to make the pass here. Impressive stuff out of the 23, making some on-run improvements into this week. How about Jake Matheson, Brian Schoenberg, not that far back as well, drivers who are having an impressive run, but they are all still chasing Bob Bryant, Tim. Yes, this may be only his second season in this eNASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing series, but he's a sim racing vet. He's got multiple championships in DMP Cup and Grand National going way back to Dale Jr.'s private league, looking for a first career win, Tim. And you want to talk about a flex? He's got his own diecast on the shelf behind him. He may want to commission a race to win one if he can hold on this time for 3 more laps.
I like the sponsor placement with the Coca-Cola hat. I like the gnome. I think that's the best thing about this whole setup. The plant
that's
is
5
great.
horsepower right there with the gnome.
That is it zen? Is it trying to relax? I don't know what it is, but you look at Bob. Bob's kind of, I think, a little bit. He's got that focus, but he's kind of loose compared to a veteran that could potentially in 3 laps win his first race in the series.
His 25th career start in this series. You look back to Derek Justice, somebody else who would love to get to victory lane, and he is working hard. Maybe his focus needs to be defending second more so than chasing the leader, because the gap between 1 and 2 steady at 0.8 of a second. He's got about 4 car lengths at Isaac Gann behind him.
We said the buzzword manageable. It's manageable up to first. It's manageable back there as long as he doesn't let these Isaac Gann get into his slipstream and close enough to make a move. Right now, he is focused on second and focused on trying to chase down Bob Bryant. But how about this? Bob Bryant a lap and a half away.
So many drivers have to work so long, Tim, to find victory lane in this series. And then sometimes when they do so, it takes so long to get back there. Second straight year with Clipperman Sport. He'll see the white flag, 1 lap to go in Fontana.
We talked about first-time winners in this series at Fontana. We saw one a couple of years ago. You mentioned Bob's resume. Bob has been around the block a couple of times, but this is going to be huge. But oh, by the way, Derek Justice sailed it into one, trying to get there.
Closes the gap to half a second. There is some traffic up the road, but it looks like it is going to be out of reach from behind. Bob Bryant started 26th in this race, and as he comes off of the final corner, he'll be the 55th different driver to ever do it. Bob Bryant is a Coke Series winner. He gets the job done in Fontana. And I can bet, Tim, he was shaken coming off of the corner. That is a long-deserved victory.
Can't wait to catch up with him in just a few moments. You can see the happy. He was focused for so many laps, and then coming out of the corner, out of turn 4, was able to get it. And now I think it's starting to set in that he's finally won a race in this series.
And one of the most liked guys on the grid as well. All the drivers over the Open Driver radio channel congratulating him right now. He's going to burn this one down to the end of this one. This winning moment is brought to you by Coca-Cola, the official fan refreshment of eNASCAR. Bob Bryant is an eNASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing Series winner for Kligerman Sport.
5 races, 5 different winners.
5 different winners. It continues for another week. He blew the engine, so they're going to have to push it to virtual victory lane. Tim, the good news is Parker doesn't get a bill for that one because it's a virtual car. Doesn't need to worry about saving the engine as we get back in action in a couple of weeks' time on the virtual Richfield Raceway. And now I think a little bit of emotion coming through there as he celebrates this win. We take a look at your Coca-Cola full race results at 0.6 of a second. The final margin of victory atop Derek Justice and Isaac Gann. The one-stop strategy worked. All of those drivers came from the midfield to get the strategy call right this evening. Gorlinski and Busta through your top 5 with Zach Nichols, Keegan Leahy, Bobby Zelensky, Mitchell DeYoung, and Michael Guest, the top 10.
You look from 11 on back, you see Corey Vincent, Malik Ray, Garrett Maines, Zach Novak, Brian Schoenberg on that strategy. Long haul coming home 15th. Michael Conti didn't work out for him this evening, comes home in 16th. Jake Matheson from the back to 17th. Nick Ottinger 18th. Logan Clampitt, his teammate, in 19th. And Steven Wilson in 20th.
Chris Shearburn, along with Garrett Lowe, Graham Bolin, Dylan Duvall, and Jimmy Mullis are through 25th. Casey Kerwin, Blake Reynolds, Brad Davies, Nathan Lyon, and Kane Cook, your top 30.
And Femi Olan, Alan Bowes, Vicente Salas, Jake Nichols, Taylor Hurst, Ray Alfala again to 36. Tough run for the 51. Ashton Crowder, Blade Witt, Ryan Luza, and Ryan Doucette to 40th.
Had some similarities to that 2019 race when Eric Smith got his first career win. That one, though, had 8 cautions. This one, 0. Clean and green from the green flag to the checker. Let's take a look at our Coca-Cola move of the race. And through the strategy, it was lap number 53, Tim. He was able to push it 3 laps past halfway. That allowed him to save enough fuel to be able to go all the way to the end, not save anything, and that ended up being the difference maker.
And longer than everybody else, was able to go on attack mode. He called it kill mode for a little bit longer than those other drivers saving on fuel, and that might have been the winning strategy. This here, though, is definitely the winning moment.
2 laps of difference. Gorlinski and Busa pitted 2 laps earlier than him. Maybe they had to save a little bit. Bob Bryant was able to go full kill to the end of this race, goes from 26th position on the grid in a caution-free race to victory lane here in virtual Fontana, California for his first career win in this series. 55th different race winner all time in the eNASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing Series, Tim. And we've seen a lot of first-time winners over the years and even recently as well, right? Some drivers returning to victory lane, but this season has been dominated by some vets. Conti, Leahy, Luza, Clampitt, experienced race winners at this level. Bob Bryant, in just his second year up here, is now a race winner.
but he knows how to get to victory lane, and I'm excited to get down here and chat with our winner, driver of the number 77, Bob Bryant. Welcome to the winners list in this eNASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing series. Has it sunk in yet?
Yeah, man, I don't know what to say. Just incredible car. Wow, they don't give these things away. This series is unbelievably difficult. Yeah, I'm honestly kind of shocked at the moment. Big thanks to Gorlinski and Brad Davies and the Drill Isle folks and the Team Conti guys put together just an incredible car, and we did it.
Pit strategy's flying throughout this race. Everybody on a different strategy. You went longer than everybody else. Were you sweating it about halfway, thinking in the back of your mind, is this the right call or not?
I was sweating it about lap 10 when we were 36th and going backwards, but we started going forwards there about 20 laps into the first run, and I knew if we could go a couple extra laps more than the competition on the first run, it was going to allow us to really open the car up, the entire second run. And that's exactly how it played out. I had, an extra lap or lap and a half of fuel over everybody, and didn't have to save it all in the second run. So, strategy worked out. We played it that way from the start of the race, and it was either going to be a hero or a zero, and here we are. We're a hero, I guess. So, awesome.
We've been at this thing for a long while. You've had a lot of sim racing accomplishments throughout your career. Where does this one rank?
Number one, man. It just is. The level of competition here is unlike anything else that I've ever done. In sim racing, I've been doing this for 20 years, and had a lot of great competition over the years, a lot of really big races, and there's absolutely nothing that compares to this series. So to be able to win is just, there's a reason why everyone's, so emotional and happy when they do it, because it's so freaking hard to do. So yeah, number one, man.
And a trip to the playoffs too, right?
Amen. That's what it's about. Now we can go battle for the championship. That's awesome. We got Valvoline in victory lane, got Kligerman Sport in victory lane, got Chevy in victory lane. Yeah, playoff time. I can't believe it.
Go celebrate, bud. Congratulations.
Appreciate it, Tim. Thank you.
That's Bob Bryant, our winner here this evening in round number 5. 5 races and 5 different winners, but a driver that was close to getting that win in his rookie season is the driver for JTG Doherty, number 37 of Derek Justice, and Derek is joining us now. Derek, so close, but yet so far. What else did you need at the end of the race to take the win?
Just save a little bit more fuel on the extra run and go an extra lap. I think we would have had it, but it's just hard racing up there, and all grooves are working at the time. It's just, if you wanted to take the shorter way around, you might lose spots, but just didn't save enough fuel there. And Bob Bryant did a fantastic job getting the win there. But if we I think if I just went on another lap, I think we had a chance at the victory there.
It hasn't been the greatest of rookie seasons for you to finish second place in a race like this. How big is this to really turn around 2021?
It's a relief, actually, because we've shown that we had speed all year. Just really unfortunate circumstances. We had top 5, top 10 speed every race except for maybe Homestead, but just unfortunate circumstances. That's part of racing, man, and getting a P2, it shows that we're the real deal, and we're going to head back to work on the following day for Richmond.
What do we expect out of Richmond? Can we park this thing in victory lane?
Richmond's not one of my best tracks, but I got a good group behind me to test and build and stuff. So just got to put a lot of hard work, like we have the first 5 races of this season, and see what we can get.
Great run tonight. Congratulations.
Yes, I want to thank you, JTG, for giving me the opportunity to drive with them. Just Louisiana hot sauce and bush beans on the car. It was flaming fast. I can say that, no pun intended there. But shout out to the guys that put a lot of effort in building these sets each week. And like I said, shout out to everybody that enjoyed the race today, and we'll get after it again in here in 2 weeks.
Well, congratulations on the run. That is Derek Justice in second, and Isaac Gann comes home in position number 3. It's a Kligerman Sport 1-3 here tonight. Isaac, I know you wanted that first place position, but especially how last week went, the last race went, how rewarding is this to come home on the podium?
Oh my gosh, just so excited. I mean, it's in most cases I'd probably be a little bit flustered or disappointed that we were that close and couldn't come away with the win. But after the last 2 weeks, and especially after Atlanta, the amazing run we had, and then having those technical problems that I did, to be able to come away with a third is just incredible. I'm so excited about it, and I'm so excited about Bob Bryant, man, my teammate, Kligerman Sport. I'm so fired up about him. He so deserves to get a win in this series this year, and I just couldn't be happier. It's awesome, great points. I went into this race knowing that I badly, everybody needs to win to get into the playoffs, and that's definitely a goal of ours this year. But I mean, I had to get a good finish, and there at the beginning, it was not looking good by any stretch of the imagination, and I was about ready to. I was ready to give up almost, honestly. I mean, I didn't, obviously, but we just got caught up in so much nonsense there, right, literally on lap 1 of the race, and kind of got some damage that was hurting me a little bit, and I was just. They were everyone talking to me was just trying to keep me focused because I was not mentally in a good spot. So that was awesome.
You talk about the feast or famine, but now with a third place finish, how much does it drive that hunger even further now that you got a taste of the podium to get that win?
Going into the season, I've always, and I talked to Mr. Prince about this before the year even started. I've been watching this series for a long time. I've since its inception, really, since it started in 2010, I've been watching, and I've always wondered, what could I do if I actually got in there? And now that I worked all last year through all the qualifying rounds and everything, and was able to get here, and the goal was not just to come in and just participate. The goal was to come in. I made the series. I felt like I got here for a reason. And the goal going into the season was I want to win. I want to compete. And I want to, make a good showing and bring something to the table that these guys are going to have to deal with. So, the Daytona was great. Got a fifth place there, and then Homestead, we just didn't really have the speed. And then the last 2 weeks, Vegas, and Atlanta, we had amazing speed, top 5 speed, almost winning speed, and just couldn't come away. Just P39 and P34, I think, which is just gut wrenching. And so to get this is just really incredible. And it kind of boosts me back up a little bit. And we got some good tracks still left on the schedule. I feel like we can get it done, get that dub, and get top 20 in points. So it's still gonna be a lot of work. We just got to keep progressing and not get complacent and just keep grinding at it. And I think we'll be all right.
It was a great run. Congratulations, and thank you for letting us listen along here tonight with yourself and David Schildhouse. That's Isaac Gann coming home with position number 3.
And one more thing, I want to make sure that I thank everybody. Kligerman Sport, Chevrolet, E-Racer, JDR Graphics, Valvoline got new colors on the car. Valvoline extended protection. If you're not putting Valvoline in your car or your vehicle, what are you doing? Put it in there. So, thanks to everybody that helps make this possible, and I really appreciate it.
New colors look good tonight. Congratulations. That's Isaac Gann and Evan. We're seeing it on our screen. We're going to Richmond in a couple of weeks. I can't wait.
It is a track with a lot of history, Tim, in the real world and in the sim. It has been a staple on this calendar since way back to those early days that Isaac was talking about when this series first started back in 2010. And it is short track racing at its finest. We have started the season at some fun venues, Tim. We have not gone short track racing yet. So things ramp up a notch in 2 weeks for round 6.
can't wait to get back to the Commonwealth, and I don't want to make the prediction early because I will leave that up to the Countdown to Green crew that brings us in, but I'm going to make the bold prediction now. We see our 6th different winner. Because with the way this series has gone and the racing is so unpredictable, I think we might see another one, and we might see a bump and run or two happen in a couple of weeks.
And we hope that you join us next time out for round 6 of this 2021 campaign, Tim. 5 different race winners. We've got 5 people locked into the playoffs, and we're not even out of March yet. I mean, it is a season unlike any other, and it is only going to continue, I think, to improve as 2021 goes on. Caution free tonight. That's pretty good. I don't know if we're going to get that lucky short track racing at Richmond, but certainly if you want to get in on the action, Tim, iRacing.com, where every day is race day.
Yeah, the boat's getting full, Evan. You want to head over to iRacing.com/eNASCAR and keep up on everything. Take a look at those point standings, because we've got 5 races in, 5 different winners, and a bunch of big names that aren't on that list. It's getting crowded up near the front. There's going to be a few drivers that end up disappointed, but it's the competition in this series that makes it so great.
Big names missing out. We'll see how they handle it in 2 weeks' time. Until next time, that's it for us for the Virtual Auto Club Speedway. This show is not possible without our entire team behind the scenes. That's everybody from Nicolette Gosson, for Alex Horn, Jay Kennedy, Tim Burns, Malik Strader, Nick Fasoli, with Joe McManus, Cisco Scarhuza, and Drew Adamson. For Blake McCandless, our pre-race show team of Amy Long, Chris Overland, Brandon Cattell, and Michael Grillia. And for Justin Prince, Tim Terry, and myself, Evan Pasoko, well, thank you for tuning in and congratulate Bob Bryant, first career winner from Fontana. We're back in 2 weeks' time, Tuesday, April 13th, for the virtual Richmond Raceway. That race and every race of 2021 eNASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing Series can be found right here on the iRacing Esports Network. Until next time, good night from SoCal. Bob Bryant is a Coke Series winner.